Hey, it says we're live. So, we're ready.
Okay. Then we'll call to order the City Council meeting for Monday, April 7th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Amanda.
Mark Bittner.
Happy to be here.
Here. Bill Leclerc.
Here.
Doug Brandt.
Here.
Tim Petrie.
Here.
Bonnie Shimulis. Here. Scott Steckmether.
Here.
Darla Leclerc. Sorry, here. And Adam is going to be late.
Okay. On to number 4, consideration of any council member's request to participate in this meeting from a remote location. Tonight we have 2, Bill and Darla are both at home this evening. So we would just need a motion and a second to allow them to join.
Make a motion to allow Bill and Darla to participate.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second? Thank you, Doug. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Amanda?
Shannon Derby.
Aye.
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shimulis. Aye. Scott Steckmether.
Aye.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
All in favor.
Thank you all for that. Welcome Darla and Bill officially. We will skip over number 5 because we have no public hearing tonight. That takes us to number 6, input from the public. If you wish to address the council about something that is on the agenda or perhaps a future agenda item, please step up to the podium on your left and state your name and address for the record.
Bittner, 3311 Monroe Street.
I'm gonna bring. We have better audio. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Yeah, I'm getting it now. I don't know if you got touched on there or whatever, but.
Just stand there, Greg, and hold
We're hearing that okay now? Okay. Yeah. Honestly, would it be out of line if I could ask Mrs. Bittner to come up again? And if that was all silent, that was really a great recognition. Betty, do you mind? Folks, if you missed the audio before, it's coming again on input from the public. I didn't touch anything.
Can you hear me? I would just like, Betty Bittner, 3311 Monroe Street. I am a member of the Two Rivers Rotary Club, and I am just here to express my deep appreciation to the community members and the many local businesses that donated so many items to our auction. And we held a dinner. Our 23rd annual dinner was held Saturday night at Sepia Chapel for the benefit of Encourage, formerly known as Domestic Violence Center, and it was a huge success. And we honored the Two Rivers Police Department for their extreme dedication and support of our community and keeping it safe as a community recognition award. And then we also honored 2 of our citizens with the Paul Harris Fellow, which is the highest honor a Rotarian gives to a community member for their outstanding service to the community. And one was Terry Ale, the librarian at Leicester Public Library, and then our own Ben Miner, Chief of Police, for their extreme efforts and community service to our community. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Jim Bob Scoot. I live in Two Rivers at 1800 Jefferson Street. I feel like that the historic dairy farm museum doesn't get a whole lot of it needs a roof work on it because it's having water leaking inside of the roof of the building. The brick on the siding of the dairy farm museum is also starting to peel away the paint. And also, it probably needs about $100,000 improvements for it to be able to continue standing, so they don't have to like build a new building. It also doesn't get a whole lot of attention either because there is a big thing, economic engine in Wisconsin, over $250 billion every year in Wisconsin. Dairy is a very important part of our society, and it's important to know about it. And I think it needs a little more attention. I know sometimes the Two Rivers Business Center, Two Rivers Business Association sometimes works with local businesses and stuff like that. And it would be nice, if we could try to figure something out there. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Seeing nothing else, we'll go on to number 7, council communications, letters and other communications from citizens. Anyone have anything? Yes, Ed.
Just the one I think that we all received in regards to plan commission appointee, I think is all that I had. But I think I went up there.
Anyone else? Seeing nothing else, then we'll go on to number 8, council reports from boards, commissions, and committees. Anyone have anything? Yes, Mark.
I have 4 things. This morning we had the senior committee meeting very early, and there's 4 things I just want to point out to the committee because your participation will be important to the success. First, on May 22nd, the senior committee will be having a fundraiser, rummage sale event. So watch for more details about the items featured in the rummage sale. Again, it's May 22nd. They're also having an upcoming information program where you can donate a car. If you have a car that is running complete or it's no longer runs, but you can donate it in a tax deductible receipt for the donation, and they can use it as funding other activities. They're also having another event, which is kind of clever. I think everybody helped participate. They're having a birthday party celebration kit being made for the local pantry. They're going to be having 8x8 aluminum pans, and they're going to have all the ingredients so people can make a cake. They can't order. Assist people who are in need. They're going to have a cake kit provided for the kids. Birthday celebration. Tried in conjunction with the senior center. Also doing two unique things. They're still selling quick wash cars, so take advantage of that. You get savings, buying 5 at once. And they're also having an upcoming spring cleanup day. You'll see more details on that, but they're going to traverse the major parks and areas of our community and pick up garbage in the streets so we don't look at the third world country. So that's a big event too, and thank you to volunteers to do that. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I have something for EAB.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, I have not been to the meetings in person for about a month and a half. And, other members have stepped in for me. And so I'm just wondering if either Doug or Shannon could kind of fill everybody in as to what's going on and what might be coming up. Sorry to put you guys on the spot, but I think it will work out just this way.
We have a talk coming up on Thursday at is it this Thursday? Talk at the library?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it's light pollution, at night, for pollinators and then, to reduce light pollution at night. And then, last month or so, 2 months ago, we had a committee that came in and spoke to us about what they do for our environment, on their own, like river cleanup and such, so. I think that's.
Thank you for that. There was one thing from the Public Works Committee meeting that we had last week, mainly about the detour and road construction on Memorial Drive. I already sent it to council, but I just want everyone else that may be listening to know that the stoplights on 14th and Madison Street and 16th and Monroe have been changed to allow better traffic flow to go through there. And the DOT is watching some of the major intersections like 14th and Hawthorne and Columbus and Hawthorne / 310 to see if anything needs to be done there with additional stop signs or something for the future. So it's being watched. We know it's an inconvenience, and hopefully people are finding either different routes or patients going through that section of town. Other than that, we will go. Yes, Mark.
Claudia and Dan might want to add to this. Tonight we're going to review the final report from the Personnel and Finance Committee, which reviews our 6 strategic plans that we use not only to focus on as a city, but we also use to evaluate our city manager. And I was asked the other night, does he really have a job forever? The answer is no. He's closely evaluated each year. He doesn't meet parameters of job expectations. He's doing a great job evaluating the process of plans, and we'll cover that later tonight. We're lucky to have a city manager who is under close scrutiny by the city council.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing nothing else, we'll go on to city manager's report.
Yes, we have a couple new employees that are guests tonight. I'd like to invite both department heads and the new employees. Andrew Stewardship from Water Utility with Gabe Butler, and then Mike Mathis going to head up this way with Kevin Grosser right after that. First up, Water Department. So the Water Department had a vacancy for a certified water operator, and our final candidate is Gabe Butler. Gabe is a Mishcot High School graduate. He has Associates of Science from UW Manitowoc. He recently came to us from Manitowoc Department of Public Works, and we're very excited to have Gabe on board.
Congratulations. Evening, everyone. I am happy to introduce Kevin Drossart, our new lead facilities worker for Parks and Playgrounds at the Parks and Rec Department. Already seeing awesome things happening in the parks this year as we're getting ready for a busy season, just because we're finally full staff with our full-time team. And Kevin definitely brings some unique experience, and some very good experience to the team. So Kevin's been running his own tree removal business for quite some time. Excuse me. Also lots of experience in the landscaping industry. He holds a bachelor's degree from UW Oshkosh in environmental studies, and also served our country in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years as well. All those very impressive experiences were excellent. One of the most impressive, though, is that he has been supplementing the tree work he's been doing as a substitute teacher in the Manitowoc School District. And I think if he can deal with that, then he is well suited to being a part of the Parks and Rec Department. So welcome, Kevin. Thanks. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. And thanks to Kevin's better half and the little one out in the hall. So thank you. Next up, I'll try to make up for some report here. Of course, last Tuesday, April 1st, we had the regular city council election. 5 candidates on the ballot for 3 at-large seats for 3-year terms. And we congratulate the 3 top vote getters, incumbents Scott Steckmesser, Tim Petrie, and Bill LeClaire, all re-elected to their seats on the city council. So congratulations. And thank you, sincere thanks to candidates Andre Robitaille and Jeff Dahlke, who also were on the ballot and enjoyed considerable support from the community in their bids for service on the council. I would remind you that the annual reorganizational meeting for city council, where council elects president, vice president for the coming year, does seating assignments, agrees on a regular order of business for regular meetings, will be on Tuesday, April 15th. That part is by ordinance. We tentatively set that time for 6 p.m. in council chambers. If that's problematic, I know council has on some occasions rescheduled that. That's what the plan is. Congratulations. And I would add my thanks to our election workers. Not only our clerk and deputy clerk, but those amazing volunteers from the community that our democracy has. You met Kevin Drossart, our new our new lead worker for facilities and playground. We are still looking for a city planner, community development director. That's been a long and ongoing search. City manager recruitment, we have shared out on city social media a link to the position profile and video that were put together by Public Administration Associates, the consultants selected by City Council. Application deadline for the position is April 28th. As of last week, Friday, 6 applications have been received by PAA. There's some information for Public Administration Associates there on the right. We are recruiting now for a good number of seasonal openings, notably in Parks and Recreation. Some of the positions as identified there at the bottom of the slide. Everything to umpires and scorekeepers, lifeguards, park hosts, park maintenance. Things will get hot in Parks and Rec in the summertime. Continued update on the youth apprentices working in various city departments. Another youth apprentice in Parks and Rec that we didn't report on last time, Daniel Carlin. He is the youth apprentice program assistant for Parks and Rec, senior at Two Rivers High School. He'll be graduating this year and headed off to UW Whitewater next fall to pursue sports management. He's actually been working with Parks and Rec since 2022 as part of the concession staff and has taken on more responsibilities. His his current role, he's helping organize and manage youth sports programs and special events, and getting some outstanding experience there that we hope will relate to his chosen major and career path. He's working closely with our rec supervisors, Rebecca Hansen and Kenny Shilcox. A good place to be learning, good team to be learning with. So thank you to Mike, Rebecca, Kenny, and the whole Parks and Rec team there. As was shared at the last meeting, the fire department has hired their first ever paid youth apprentice. Chris Parker is that student. He is a junior at Two Rivers High School. His activities include wrestling and football. He's a TR native, and he enjoys giving back to the community with community service. He'll be starting on April 16th, and then working weekdays at the beginning of each shift. And I expect a chief or a representative of the department will have Chris in for an introduction at a future council meeting. This is great to see the number of high school students that are engaging with our departments, learning about service to community, learning about the great career opportunities there are in serving the city. We hope to see a lot of them back in the future, serving the hometown. This coming a little over a week out, April 18, is Line Worker Appreciation Day, so we do take this opportunity to express thanks for the crew at our Two Rivers electric utility. When storms come rolling through, it's amazing the kind of response times that we enjoy. A true community-based utility. We're not waiting for them to roll in from 50 or 60 miles away. And one of the many benefits of having a locally controlled, locally run municipal utility. So again, certainly Brian, pass along our thanks to the crew. Mrs. Bittner addressed earlier the Rotary Annual Fundraising Dinner and Auction, 23rd annual over at Sepia Chapel. The first project that Rotary held their annual fundraising dinner for 23 years ago was the Two Rivers Rotary Outlook on Mariners Trail. And they have actively supported a number of great things in this community and this county over the years. Most recently, the Domestic Violence Center, this most recent event, but not all that long ago, the skating loop in Central Park West, the Rotary Pavilion in Deschutes Park. That club has a huge footprint within the community. And again, it's a great opportunity to highlight the service of the Two Rivers Police Department with a $1,000 donation from Rotary to the K-9 program, and also the recognition of Chief Minor and our Children's Services Director at Leicester Public Library, Terry Hale. It was a really great night. Sepia really shone. Thank you. All of Rotary and the participants. Continuing to recognize employee achievements, our city clerk, Amanda Berenberg, has been awarded a grant to attend the International Institute of Municipal Clerks annual conference coming up in I was going to say this summer, but middle of May. 2 clerks get selected for this award, this honor from our region, which includes Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Do you know where the other one was from? Totally unscripted. So I got one other clerk out of that 3-state region selected. And again, the conference brings together municipal clerks from around the world to share knowledge and strengthen the profession, and another indication of our commitment to staff development. Another activity that we've mentioned a couple of times, Bigs with Badges. That's a one-on-one mentoring program that brings our police department, Big Brothers, together with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And we have 7 officers participating presently, working with littles. And so 7 youngsters and 7 members of the Two Rivers Police Department, again, giving them their time to serve the community with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. City Hall elevator. Nobody was panting tonight from having to take the stairs. That project, about $120,000 overhaul on that 32-year-old, excuse me, elevator was completed, thank goodness, after about 6 weeks. It includes up-to-date technology, new hydraulics, and all new control system, and some energy efficiency and other things you'd expect. But an elevator that's 32 years younger than it was. We may leave it off during the day. It's a great employee fitness thing. Just kidding. In the utility area, we overdue balances connection moratorium ends on April 15th. So any should be in touch with the customer service department to make arrangements. Either extended payment options or other options are for various assistance programs. And we can do that in the customer service office right here on the first floor at City Hall. Council President talked about the Memorial Drive project and recent discussion of the Public Works Committee. The subcontractor should finish up milling off 2.5 inches of asphalt off the entire drive this week. Very shortly, they'll also be tearing into the drive for replacing culverts that carry stormwater underneath the drive to discharge points on Lake Michigan. We will see Lunda construction in on the 21st of April is planned right now for about 4 weeks, during which the Washington Street Bridge will be completely shut down. Actually, first they will be grinding off 2.5 inches of concrete on the bridge. It should remain passable after that until Lunda arrives in town. Is the current plan. It might be a little rough like the rest of the drive, but then the bridge will be closed off to any traffic for a 4-week period. Again, the goal, the plan, the commitment by DOT is that the detouring of Highway 42 will end in advance of the Memorial Day weekend, but after Memorial Day, repaving will continue well into June with periodic lane closures and flagging operations. They'll also be going into June, maybe July, with removal of all of the guard beam along the Lake Michigan side of the roadway and replacement of most of that guardrail. About a $6 million project, all funded with state dollars that we all pay for our motor food taxes and licensing fees. We will try to get weekly updates on City Hall Facebook as things approach, like the full closure at Columbus because of tearing up that and replacing the big culvert there, and the full closure on the bridge. Mariners Trail is generally open to traffic throughout the project, and the contractor is required to do flagging for trail traffic when sections are out due to culvert replacement. We reported, a couple of months ago now, that the water utility service line inventory, which was submitted to DNR back in the fall, had been found to, well, basically was not approved by DNR because of some classification issues on how various laterals were classified on the report. As a result, the EPA terms that an operating violation or operational violation. There was notice of that mailed out to every single customer in the system. We tried to assure folks then this is simply a matter of how the report is formatted. It doesn't change anything beyond that. Happy to report that a revised report was submitted in March. We got word back from DNR that the inventory now is totally compliant with EPA requirements, so it's now been approved and accepted by WDNR. We won't send everybody in town a notice telling you that, but that's where it's at. Not on tonight's agenda for action, but you might be wondering what the status is with the 3-block reconstruction of streets over on the east side, Harbor 16th and Emmett Streets. Those bids were opened on March 20th. There were 4 bids received. The apparent low qualified bidder is Vinton Construction. Construction unit costs on the project did come in higher compared to the Roosevelt Avenue project we bid out last year, but still within budget. This whole matter will come before the council at the next meeting in 2 weeks, April 21, where first you will hold a public hearing on the proposed special assessments for the project. Engineering will hold an informational meeting, left the word out there, late afternoon that same day, and for folks in the project area. And council will be asked that evening to hold a public hearing on special assessments, hopefully approve the special assessments, never highly popular, but the way we help pay for projects. And then after that, assuming the assessments are approved, council will be asked to approve the contract. Then we'll get back with more specifics on the proposed construction schedule for that project. Yeah.
So the informational meeting for the citizens to learn about the project is in the afternoon?
Well, before the council meeting, what are we looking at now? 4:30?
Okay.
And
More of the evening.
yeah.
I guess I was thinking afternoon, like people are in work.
Oh, like
Are
2,
they
3
agreeable with
o'clock,
that?
yeah, I'm sorry, that's probably better put.
Okay, just so that they have an opportunity.
And Matt, you've had other meetings with the citizens group previously, correct? Correct, okay.
Yeah, it was an information meeting
Informational
early
already.
on. This one probably more tuned into questions on this proposed assessment. Yep. Just a quick update, and we've talked about some of these before, as far as community and economic development projects. The Sophie's project is pretty much winding down over there. That will be assisted over the next 15 years or so with a pay-as-you-go TIF grant, utilizing the extra revenue derived from higher taxes, so we will pay from improving their facility. Both the Plan Commission and now the DIDC and CDA have approved plans for Rush Logistics, new 6,000 square foot facility for their expediting and shipping firm out of the Woodland Industrial Park. ACE will be putting that up this summer. And the Plan Commission also at a special meeting on March 19th approved the architectural and site plans for a new building by Growth Garage, David Callista and his Growth Garage business over on Lincoln Avenue at 33rd Street. I should also Business Industrial Development Committee, which administers at its recent meeting on March and approved the plans for Rush Logistics. The Pop Start Pizza project did authorize additional loan of up to $20,000 on top of the $63,000 loan approved last summer. That is tied specifically to any costs that are specific to the physical improvements, capital improvements at the facility. And that is also subject to final review by a committee of the IDC, contingent on a similar increase in the loan amount from Nicolay Bank, which the bank has subsequently confirmed late last week. That additional bank funding will be available for working capital. The business expects to be open in May. That's coming along. Jeff, I hope I got these numbers right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Lester Library's Flickr site, which is downright amazing and contains images of Two Rivers places and events taken over the last 18 years by our library director, Jeff Dawson. Available free of charge for use by the public, with simply attributing the source as Lester Library Flickr. On this 18th anniversary, there have been over 12 million visitors, and there are over 36,000 images of this community in every season out there on the Flickr site. So if you never checked it out, Google Lester Library Flickr. It's amazing. Two Rivers in all seasons and in many special occasions. Thank you, Jeff.
There's now a direct link off the city website.
Very good.
To this account.
Yeah, I think a round of applause is in order. That wasn't and isn't in the job description. Above and beyond, that's been adjusted. It was mentioned earlier, Michael Dittmer will be speaking on the topic of light pollution, harm to wildlife and ecosystems. That is another in the educational series organized by our own City Environmental Advisory Board, Thursday night of this week at the Lester Public Library down at the Fireplace End. EAD's done a wonderful job bringing in speakers of expertise. I think most of you know Michael from Still Them and his passion for nature preservation and his views and expertise in the lighting field. So encourage people to come out for that. As far as other upcoming community events, the Optimist Club continues to move forward with plans. It's coming right up on April 12th. A week from Saturday, this past weekend, at the cemetery in Remembrance Night with luminarias placed at headstones, both at the new or old cemeteries, $10 a piece. That is a fundraiser for Two Rivers Optimists, and contact information is there. You can get order forms actually at the Senior Center, area churches, or by emailing the TR office. The police department continues community outreach through Coffee with a Cop. The next 2 dates are Wednesdays, April 16th at the Two Rivers Starbucks, Wednesday, April 30th over at the Two Rivers Senior Center. So that's a good opportunity to speak in an informal setting with chief and other officers from the Two Rivers Police Department. Sometimes they bring the dog along if you're lucky. Speaking of educational programs, the Woodland Dunes Nature Center, working with Lakeshore Natural Resources, Glacier Land Conservancy, and Wisconsin DNR, among others, is sponsoring an Emerald Ash Borer Field Day. Now, this isn't a field day for Emerald Ash Borers, but it's an opportunity to get out in the field and learn more about the status of the ongoing infestation that's had pretty profound impacts on our area forests. That's Wednesday, April 16, 4 to 7, Woodland Dunes Nature Center. You can register online. There's an estate planning workshop over at the Leicester Public Library on April 17th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Any pre-registration required?
No, just show up.
Drop in and plan your estate. Get some information on it. Two Rivers Fire Department does an amazing fish boil, and this year's fish boil is scheduled for Good Friday, April 18th, 3 to 7 p.m. at the fire station. You can dine in with other folks from the community and with our firefighters and their families. There are to-go orders available as well, and it is just awesome. Remember a few years ago when Andrew Zimmern from Bizarre Foods came to visit TR Fire Department, did a fish boil, and experienced fish in the guts, which they don't offer commercially. But that's pretty cool. You can still find it up there on YouTube. If you really want to talk about fish in the guts, there's pancakes with the Easter Bunny, which that's a lot more appetizing. April 19th, 8:30 to 10:30 over at the Community House. And the Easter egg hunt at Neshoda Park, brought to you by Two Rivers Optimists with Two Rivers Parks and Rec. Do they hide real eggs? It's a good thing. You might have to have an armed guard for that. But Easter egg hunt over at Neshoda, open to 8, kids ages 10 and under. Yep, good stuff. You know what, Mike, could you tell us a bit about the upcoming summer public kayak series? Because you know what you're talking about.
So I have been talking about these programs for years. It's been a long time coming. This all started with the Wisconsin Coastal Management Grants going back to 2023. That program took a very long time to get its money and get the program going, but we're excited to launch this. There'll be 6 separate programs throughout the summer. The Parks and Rec Department now has its own fleet of kayaks and all the gear that'll go along with that. So there are various times. One's a birding paddle, one is a education and like Great Lakes education piece to it. Others are just introduction to kayaking sessions where people who maybe don't have a lot of experience or just want to get a little bit more practice can come out and learn from staff that have been training in kayaking. And so yeah, it's only $10 to participate. And we hope to get people out on our rivers and learn about the great natural resources we have in Two Rivers as well. The other unique thing that's coming up in May is we're hosting, I've heard me probably talk about this, an adaptive paddling workshop. So right now we have 4 participants signed up from outside Parks and Rec, and then 3 Parks and Rec staff will be participating in it for 7 total participants. The people from outside our department, 2 of them are from Wisconsin and 2 of them are from Massachusetts, and they're flying all the way in for the adaptive paddling workshop. It's really the only one that's done nationally this year at least. So yeah, lots of cool stuff coming this summer to get out on the water.
Thank you, Mike. That's a great partnership with Wisconsin's Coastal Management Program, which funded some of the capital expenses and program. Final note, Community House will be closed on Sunday, April 13. Maintenance staff will be engaged in the annual stripping and waxing of floor surfaces throughout the building. That will include the gym floor prior to Harorama and also the other floors throughout the building. Trying to remember what we call this lovely stone floors. And just as a side note, because this question has come up in the past, any of the full-time staff engaged in this will be doing it on a flex time arrangement without overtime. Terrazzo, there they came to me. Both the terrazzo and wooden floors getting stripped and waxed, and general cleanup. So whether it's fitness center or any of the facilities, it's shut down for that Sunday. That's my report. Thank you.
Anything for legislative or intergovernmental update?
Not a whole lot. We're other than we're obviously watching the state budget and what's happening or not happening there so far. That's going to be a process that will probably play out into the summer. There are some pending court cases regarding the governor's very broad line item veto authority that legislative leadership saying they'd kind of like to see some answers to. Of course, I should mention we have gotten assurance from the Great St. Lawrence Cities Initiative that the $135,000 in funding they are bringing to our shoreline planning initiative. They've assured us that money is in place, hasn't been rescinded by executive order or any cuts. Likewise, the Sustain Our Great Lakes grant for $280,000 is going into that Southside Shoreline Planning Initiative. So we got basically a revised version of the same contract the City Council approved back in January, simply with a revised timetable. And I'm going to be signing that this week and getting it off to Stantec, our consultants. That's same dollar amount, same scope of services as previously approved by council. There's also a letter of agreement that was previously authorized with the city's initiative. So that project, which could lay the groundwork for a lot of great things in future years, will be moving forward.
Scott, our search firm suggested that our city manager and our president of city council post a video talking about the opening in city manager. And I want to tell you, Buckley, Scott did an excellent job promoting our city, and Greg really set the bar high for his replacement because he did an excellent job doing that, talking about the community. So if you get a chance, they're on our website, Facebook page, please look at it because it's very informative about what people are looking for. Thank you.
I give credit to the company, or to the gentleman who were here that did the video. They had a nice little program for us, so that helps. And they made it so much easier. Okay.
You know, the gentleman making them carry all the equipment up the stairs, but after that, it was easy. Thank you.
On to 10, consent agenda. Under A, we have presentation of minutes. We have one from the City Council regular meeting from March 3rd, 2025, City Council regular meeting from March 17th, 2025, and City Council work session from March 31st, 2025. Recommended action will be a motion to waive reading and adopt the minutes. Under B, we have minutes of meetings. There are 6 of those. There's Explore Two Rivers Board from February 11th and March 11th, 2025. Room Tax Commission, March 5th, 2025. City Manager Recruitment and Selection Kit Committee from March 20th, 2025. Personnel and Finance Committee from March 6th, 13th, 17th, 19th, and April 1st, 2025. Business and Industrial Development Committee, Community Development Authority from March 25th, 2025. And the Board of Municipal Canvassers, statement of the Board of Canvassers from Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. And then under C, we have summary of verified bills for the month of March 2025 for $4,717,166.74. The recommended action will be a motion to receive and file. The recommended action for the entire consent agenda will be a motion to approve the consent agenda with various actions recommended. Looking for that motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda with the various actions recommended.
Thank you, Bonnie. Seconds by.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Adam. Any council discussion? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. So all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. On to 11, City Council formal items. Under A, we have proclamation designating April 18th as Line Worker Appreciation Day. Recommended action will be a motion to read and adopt the resolution. Proclamation, sorry, not resolution. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to read and adopt the resolution.
Thank you. Second by Shannon. Any council discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shmulevitz,
Aye.
Scott Steinmeier,
Aye.
Adam Mahusky,
Aye.
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
all in favor.
Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone.
Proclamation for Line Worker Appreciation Day. Whereas electric utilities across the country have designated April 18th of each year as National Line Worker Appreciation Day. Line Worker Appreciation Day celebrates those dedicated people who work in challenging conditions to keep the lights on. And whereas line workers leave their families and put their lives on the line every day to keep the power on. And whereas line workers work under dangerous conditions to build, maintain, and repair the electric infrastructure to ensure reliable, affordable, and responsible power supply. And whereas line workers are the first responders for the electric utility getting power back on and making things safe for all after storms and accidents. And whereas conditions can be dangerous, but line workers power through to ensure reliable service to customers, thanks to a strong training program that emphasizes safety first and foremost. And whereas these employees are your family, friends, and neighbors within the community that we live in. And now therefore be it resolved that the City of Two Rivers hereby expresses its gratitude and appreciation for the dedication and many contributions to the Two Rivers Electric Department and the community of Two Rivers. Dated the 7th day of April, 2025.
Thank you to all our line workers out there. We greatly do appreciate all of you. On to B, opportunity to hear appeal a previous council decision denying variance from sex offender residency restrictions. Applicant has been advised of ability to appeal.
This was simply placed on the agenda as a placeholder to afford that opportunity. Back on March 17, the City Council did, consistent with the police chief's recommendation, deny the request for a variance from our city's restrictions on sex offender residency in the community. City clerk sent a letter out to the individual indicating that it had been denied. If he wished to appeal that denial, he had up until tonight's meeting as a possibility. So we did hold this open. There's been no contact, and the gentleman is not here in the audience, so no need for action on this item.
On to C, resolution supporting reauthorization of state funding for Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program.
Yes, this is the request that came in. A lot of conservation groups around the state are interested in this because the current 10-year authorization for Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program expires later this year. I think technically it's state fiscal year 2026. The Ice Age Trail Alliance is an advocate for reauthorization. They put out a fact sheet specific to each of the Ice Age Trail communities, including this sheet that's attached to this resolution, showing that since the inception of the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program 30 years ago, there's been 71 projects in the Manitowoc Two Rivers area with an investment of about $6.6 million. Some of that has been specific to the city of Two Rivers for some of our bike trail resurfacing activity, for the seawall replacement over at Harbor Park. Most recently, we have stewardship dollars to the tune of about $215,000 for the improvements at the show department. In fact, we asked to award a contract tonight that draws on some of those funds. There's been a fair amount of stewardship money invested out at Point Beach State Forest for facilities upgrades, trail development, and that sort of thing. I would point out, like so many things, there is some politics involved in this reauthorization. I believe it was last year there was a state Supreme Court ruling regarding the inability of the legislative, I believe the Joint Finance Committee members, to veto projects where the DNR was proposing to spend this money. So that has caused some heartburn with the legislature. This proposed resolution isn't intended to take sides in that battle. The governor, the DNR, the legislature, I guess I would say, can work that one out. However, it is intended to generally encourage support of reauthorizing the program. Program gets a lot of attention for acquisition of lands for public purposes, lands that do have to be made available for hunting and fishing and usually trapping as well. But it also does, stewardship does also fund improvements to our more urban parks in cities like Two Rivers, Manitowoc, and others. So with this, at the request of the Ice Age Trail Alliance, with the support of our city tourism office and Parks and Rec Department, I would ask the council consider and approve this resolution, reporting to our legislators and the governor's office.
Would you like to read the improve? Do you want us to? It says motion to read and approve the resolution, or do you want us to leave it?
I don't know if you want to endure that or not, but only if you wish to. I will lumber my feelings if you want to just wait for reading.
Okay, please vote for a motion. Do you want him to read it or waive reading?
Not necessarily, I think you explained it, but the community.
Okay. I'll make sure, looking for a second then. Thank you, Doug. Any council discussion?
Great, I have a question. Do we, as a city, have to submit individual requests? Is that like requesting a grant? And who's gonna do that for us?
Typically, that has either been done by the city manager's office, community development, or the Parks and Rec director. Honestly, Mike took care of the application that just secured the funding for the show, or we have those capabilities. I don't know of any cases where, I shouldn't say that. For the seawall, I think because that was part of a $4 million total funding package, I think we did farm that one out and both companies did our application. Our Parks and Rec director is quite conversant in it. And one of the key things is having a good, up-to-date space plan, which was developed by the ARB, working with Mike and his staff, and adopted by City Council just last year.
Anything else? Yes, Ed.
Are there, Mike, if you want to step up or just stand up so they can hear you, are there opportunities for us to get grants out of this in the next 10 years that you see coming up for the city of Two Rivers, where we can get some of these funds that can impact our parks?
The deadline for 2026 is May 1st, and I'm almost done with the application for this next year. That one will hopefully go towards Riverside Park to make some of the improvements that we did through the master planning process at Riverside Park. Very highly competitive process with other cities applying to these things, so we'll see how that goes. The other thing I would reiterate with this is I don't know of any other large grant funding opportunities for general park improvements other than this one and the Wisconsin Coastal Management Program. Wisconsin Coastal Management has a lot of federal funding in it. This one is state funded, and so it runs a lot quicker and smoother in some regards. And so the efficiency of the stewardship process has been very good from what I've seen. So yes, there are many, many opportunities for us because it's one of the very few opportunities to support urban parks with general park bathrooms and trails and all the other things that are a core piece of our parks.
Thank you.
DNR has regional staff at Northeast Wisconsin offices that are pretty darn familiar with what's happening in the individual communities. They've been really good partners. I don't know why I keep talking into this mic, but we're all used to it. Yes.
Anything else? Yes, honey.
Just like to make a comment. I don't have the notes in front of me. I didn't bring.
Yeah, or your notes.
Yeah. We already have gotten grants from them.
Almost definitely, yes.
And I mean, it's not like it's new to us. I just wanted to point that out.
Just every so often, the legislature needs a nudge to be reminded these programs are important at the local level. And they've been responsive in recent years.
Anyone else? See no one else, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Bonnie Shamoulis.
Aye.
Scott Steckenridge.
Aye.
Adam Husky.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc.
Darla, you're on mute. Maybe.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby. Aye. Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc, are you there?
Oops.
That's not
Yeah, it's not like that, so. Okay. That passes. Thank you all for that. We are gonna skip over to H, appointment to Plan Commission, appoint Patricia Klein to a term expiring May 1st, 2027. Greg?
Ms. Klein was good enough to be here tonight for the meeting to address any questions council members might have. So you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I thought you might, it's pretty fascinating stuff. There is presently a vacancy on the Plan Commission. It's actually been a vacancy since the 1st of May of last year to fill the position that Eric Hangburn had previously held. I've talked to various folks intermittently and approached a couple folks about applying for the position. Had a conversation probably a little over a month ago with Ms. Klein at a meeting. She and I were seated near each other in the audience and heard some of her interest in serving the community and some of her perspectives on how, I can't say as well as she did, but how we could work together to solve problems and make Two Rivers a better place. Honestly, I liked what I was hearing there. I know some of our council members encouraged her to apply. Mr. Bittner had some discussions with her in follow-up to that. So I'm pleased to recommend the appointment of Pat Klein. This would be for the balance of that term in question. So it would be essentially 2 years running to May 1 of 2027. I would mention, I guess, while I'm talking that coming up very shortly, we have the opportunity for other appointments to our boards and committees. We're in the process now of reaching out to folks that are eligible for reappointment because all of our terms end at the 1st of May. And there are some folks that have served 2 full terms, or maybe two and a little more if they were appointed to a vacancy. So I do know that we will have vacancies that need to be filled, one on the Plan Commission, one each, I believe, on the BIDC and CDA, one on the Environmental Advisory Board, Advisory Rec Board, got I think another proposed appointment for the library. So there are some other opportunities which we will be publicizing and that we'll be coming back to you either at the work session at the end of April or the first meeting in May. But in the meantime, I am pleased to recommend Ms. Klein's appointment. Appreciate her being here. Is there any questions or concerns?
Okay. So the recommended action is a motion to approve the appointment as recommended by the city manager. Looking for that motion. Thank you, Shannon.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Thank you, Bill. Any council discussion? Yes, Adam.
Can you explain to the public the process for this and if any other people were put in that application? Because I don't think everyone out there when they talk maybe necessarily know that there's a way where you can pull up an application on the website and how that kind of goes through and gets selected.
There are board and commission applications on the website. We do have applications on file. I can tell you I have other applications on file for this position. Ultimately, the presentation, a recommendation is from the city manager to the council, but we welcome applications and there are a variety of opportunities to serve.
And they select, then it may select any committee or
they can
do
show
they
an
put it at
interest in
large?
any committee. And if there's not an opening, certainly a person can say, next time there's an opening on the environmental advisory board, the rec board, what have you, I'd like to be considered. I'm not going to sit here and say that's a guarantee. I will recommend an appointment to the council. But our committees represent a pretty broad cross section. And I would ask, quite honestly, that people afford the respect to people, I'm not talking to the council, but some of the dialogue we've seen lately, folks that are willing to serve in that capacity, we welcome. I think we should all reflect the respect for that, like we do in the community. That's beyond what you asked for.
Yeah, no, I just want people to know the process,
Yes,
that there is a process. You
there
can
is a
find it
form.
online. I just didn't know if you select a committee or if you can put any committee.
You can, yes, you can indicate committee or committees that you're interested in serving. Thank you.
And that's a good point, Adam, because just like you said, Greg, there's gonna be some openings coming up. So
Yes.
if anyone wants to, now's the time. Anyone else? Council discussion? Okay, seeing none, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Scott Stephenson?
Aye.
Adam Husky?
Aye.
Darla Claire?
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby. Aye. Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shmulman. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you all for that, and thank you for being here tonight. On to D, award of bid for paving project, Pierce Street within the Neshoba Park, 21st Street to Zlatnik Drive, plus street side parking areas, 2025 budget capital project.
This project is included in both the streets budget for 2025 as part of the borrowing of the street capital projects, 10-year borrowing. It should last a lot longer than that. Also part of this project, as shown in Matt Heckenleibel's memo, part of the funding for some off-street, adjacent to the street.
Why don't you tell him to speak up?
Okay, is that better, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. This falls in two budgets, streets capital, where there's money for, whatever street it is, goodness, for Pierce Street itself, and Parks and Rec capital, which is funding parking areas along the street. This is my outdoor voice. I would point out that the $65,000 that's available in the Neshoba Park capital is 50% city borrowing and 50% DNR stewardship money. That's part of that grant that we referenced earlier. You've got the report from Matt Heckenleibel. We got two bids from Benton Construction of Two Rivers in Northeast Wisconsin, Northeast Asphalt from Green Bay. They were fairly tight. The low bid from Northeast Asphalt, $150,298. If you add to that 15% estimated for engineering and contingency, you're at $172,842.70 as shown, and that breaks out to $109,275 for Pierce Street. So that is well within the budget for this project in streets capital. In fact, it's about 65,000 below that. That's good. We may need it for some other streets. We'll talk about that as those bids come in. And then the budgeted amount in the Neshoba Park project at 65,000 should just cover, with maybe $1,500 to spare the cost of those parking areas. So we hope to see this work done before Memorial Day weekend. And I don't recall, but I'll put the two department heads on the spot. Do you know how many total parking spaces there are in those areas along?
I think we're adding an additional 50.
Net 50 added. So that'll add more parking in the area by the very popular playground and some of the areas approaching the beach. And this is keeping, and I'll shut up, but this is keeping with the Neshoba Park master plan adopted in 2023, 2 years ago, that only called for adding parking in that area, but that should recommend approval.
Okay. Then we're looking for the motion to award the contract to Northeast Asphalt Incorporated.
I'll make a motion to approve that contract.
Thank you, Mark. Bonnie will second it. Any council discussion?
I just want to, is it correct that, we have to,
I'm good. Yep, all right.
that we have to take the lowest bid? I mean, is this a state thing, right? The reason I'm bringing it up, the same as this Adam over here, that, because sometimes people don't understand that.
Lowest qualifying bid.
Well,
So as long as it was compliant with the bid spec for public works construction projects, which is still anything over $25,000, that's bid out, we're bound. And frankly, I assume with either contractor, the asphalt would get laid down by Northeast, their primary paving contractor. But yeah, these two were mighty close, and of course the local were just about $2,000 higher.
Good point. Anyone else? See no one else, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Matt Steckman.
Aye.
Adam Husky.
Aye.
Darla Leclerc.
Aye.
Mark Bittner.
Aye.
Shannon Derby.
Aye.
Bill Leclerc.
Aye.
Doug Brandt.
Aye.
Tim Petrie.
Aye.
Bonnie Shmulman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all for that. On to E, consideration of amendment to the city's revenue recognition policy retroactive to January 1st, 2024, to state that revenues may be recognized if received within 6 days following year end, except that grant revenue may be recognized within 180 days following year end.
Just for background, as Cassie, our finance director, comes up, this, council members might recall, those of you who were there will know that a transformer blew and we were plunged into darkness as we met with our CLA, our auditors, for a deep dive on the 2024 audit report. Part of the recommendation out of that meeting, which we discussed, finance committee did with CLA, was this modification to our policy solely as to when grant revenue that comes in after the December 31 close of the fiscal may be counted as revenue for that prior year. Cassie will tell you what we do now and what we're going to do and maybe why we're doing it.
Sure, this is really just to better match revenue and expenses. We're currently waiting on a county reimbursement for ARPA lead service lateral projects. It's about 200,000. And those dollars were all expended in 2024, so it's cleaner reporting if when we receive that money, we can back it to when we actually spent it back in 2024. So it's really just a bookkeeping and matching thing for grant revenue.
Typically, that recognition period is 60 days. Typically, that's been enough. But sometimes on grants and right now with this county reimbursement, it just makes it a lot cleaner for purposes of reporting the ARPA dollars.
Yep.
Because we don't want to show the county's matching us, and we don't want to show this as all a city spend in the reporting year, which is 2024. And we're assured that payment will be coming soon from the county. I'm just looking at 2 county reps and I know in the audience.
Any questions?
And the auditors did recommend this as a good way to handle it.
Okay.
Thank you, Cassie.
Then we're looking for motion to approve the policy amendment as recommended by the Personnel Finance Committee, retroactive to January 1st, 2024.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Bonnie, second by Shannon. Any council discussion? See none, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Adam Mahusky,
Aye.
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Whitner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby, Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shamalidan,
Aye.
Scott Stagmeister,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you all for that. On to F, review and action on city strategic goals and objectives, review of 2024 accomplishments and updating of goals for 2025 as recommended by the Personnel and Finance Committee.
I'll defer for the most part to the committee members, but I would note a total of 4 Personnel and Finance Committee meetings, I think 3 morning ones, one evening one, were spent in reviewing the council's 2024 goals and objectives, discussing where we made progress, where we had accomplishments, discussing where there's still work to do, because I think you'll agree you should look at the list. We've never said keep it short and keep it all attainable. It's always been an ambitious list. And what you've got here is in black type, the original goals, objectives. In red, the progress reports, if you will, or the statements as to what was accomplished or what wasn't. And in blue, revisions, which there aren't too many, but proposed revisions for 2025. And so the council could act on this tonight, or if you wish to spend more time reviewing it at a work session. I'll be out of the country at the end of the month. That would be a good one. No, just kidding. But yes, that's basically what the committee has gone through and does recommend these for your approval.
I'm well aware of what they are, but I'm asking other council members, are they in color for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, it might just be mine.
Oh,
Just
so
want
you
to
got,
make sure.
oh,
I got a paper copy.
You got a paper copy.
But I know what they are, so I'm not concerned. Just want to make sure they knew what was achieved and what was.
Yeah, online's all.
Okay, perfect.
Good question. I didn't realize this was going to reply.
Okay. So, what would the council like to do?
I'm on the committee, so someone else can
Motion? Yeah, do we want to go through it step by step? Have we all looked at it already and agreed with it? Yeah, I mean, I hope I did already. I hope 3 people up here.
If I could just note, you know, there are some areas where I think we all agreed there was significant progress made last year. In the residential area on single family, and thank you, council, the commitment that was shown to going into the next phase of the Sandy Bay subdivision with 26 more single family lots. That's moving ahead. We've got 5 sold or under contract and got word today on an interest in 2 more. So that's going well. We had stumbles on a couple of multifamily development proposals, notably the Confluence project on the East Twin and the West River Lots project. Those remain priority development areas, and for various reasons, I would say not related to the city's willingness to step up, those didn't happen. We've seen healthy growth in our equalized value. Yes, the whole world has seen home values go up, but in recent years, last 2 or 3 years, Two Rivers has outpaced the rest of the county and our neighboring city. At the end of the day, we're primarily here as a city to provide some pretty darn important services to the community. We highlighted our line workers tonight. We talked about our police, fire, paramedic, and I think some of the things we talked about as accomplishments were the accomplishments of the outstanding people in our departments that deliver those services. And I'll be the first to say I take a heck of a lot of pride in them. I know you guys do as well. And it's not just by accident that we recruit and retain the quality of people that we have. So there are areas we need to work on. We talked about the moving CN right-of-way acquisition, which has been slow. Staying in touch with Thermo Fisher Scientific as a new city manager comes on board, because that still is an area where Two Rivers could shine and really see some amazing development. Probably a good idea for Thermo Fisher to finish up the environmental issues, dealing with those before the taxpayers take on a role there. But overall, I think there were a number of positive things, including, I mentioned services, but also including adapting new technology. We had a tragic drowning at the beach. We have a swim smart system. Room tax money helped pay for that. We now have a fire department this year will be equipped with rescue jets. Help me chief, the cameras going in and out of town, the flock cameras, which Two Rivers, I think, will be the first install in Manitowoc County, something that could be very valuable. Looking back this last year, could have been very valuable in the Elijah situation to monitor traffic in and out of the city. Use of technology, aggressively going after grant money, whether it's for parks or whether it's for replacing lead service lateral. So, you know, we didn't bat 1,000, we didn't bat 500, but there were some positive accomplishments noted. And I think whether it's tonight or a future night, this also is a very good tool to hand off to a future city manager, saying these are the priorities of this council. So that's my spiel.
Thanks for that. Does Mark, Bonnie, or Adam, sorry to put you on the spot, any other highlights or lowlights Craig might have missed? Anything else you want to add to what Craig said?
Yeah, did you miss an adding one?
I'm sorry. What's that?
Did we talk about looking at the just over an acre lot on the corner of Hawthorne and 18th?
You know, you read my mind. I was looking at that coming into tonight. The council, there was consensus to look at options other than industrial park use for that, you know, 1.5 acre, 2 acre lot at Hawthorne and 14.
And do that for residential. If we could, whoever makes the motion could add that in there. I think that's worth looking at from a city standpoint. You could probably get at least 3 lots out of there in a nice area.
Thank you. I apologize.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it in there.
That's pretty good for having black and white.
Right, I know.
Is that 18th and Hawthorne? Right.
18th and Hawthorne. On the corner.
I'll make that motion with the recommended action from them.
And the corner of 18th and Hawthorne, or residential?
Yeah.
Potential residential. Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Bonnie. Any council discussion? See nothing else.
Should we take this to work session?
We can if you'd like. We already have a motion to just to review and accept it.
All right, never mind.
You okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing nothing else, this will be a roll call vote. Amanda?
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby. Aye. Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shalutis,
Aye.
Scott Steckenpferd,
Aye.
Adam Husky,
Aye.
motion carried.
Thank you all for that. On to G, action regarding city manager's 2025 wage adjustment as recommended by the Personnel and Finance Committee.
This would be council action on a 3% wage adjustment consistent with what was approved for all other non-union employees to be effective at the same date, effective for other employees, January.
Craig, you might add, we had decided as a council that we were gonna hold your increase, which would have been effective January 1, until we evaluated your performance in the previous year. That's why we went through this process, evaluated, and think he worthy and should get the increase retroactive January 1st.
Then we're looking for a motion to authorize a 3% wage increase retroactive to January 1st, 2025.
I'll make a motion to authorize the 3% wage increase.
Thank you, Doug. Second by. Thank you, Bonnie. Any council discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Amanda?
Scott Steckenpferd,
Aye.
Adam Husky,
Aye.
Darla Leclerc,
Aye.
Mark Bittner,
Aye.
Shannon Derby,
Aye.
Bill Leclerc,
Aye.
Doug Brandt,
Aye.
Tim Petrie,
Aye.
Bonnie Shalutis,
Aye.
motion carried.
Thank you for that. On to 12 for information only.
Just a reminder of upcoming meetings. The the reorganizational meeting, April 15th to 6 p.m. Is that good? As good a time as any for everyone?
Can I get back to you?
What's that?
Can I get back to you?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, my schedule. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm in high school softball season, so I just wanted to double check to see if I have something that I can make later.
Okay, that's good. So share that with Scott and then share with the rest of the council. Yeah, we're not limited by, the ordinance doesn't specify time.
I know before we've gone late.
We have. Next regular meeting is on the 21st. I just would note that that agenda will include most, if not all, of the proposed budget, or excuse me, the proposed ordinance amendments that we spent quite a bit of time on at last Monday's work session. It will also include, related to short-term rentals, the proposed amendment to the zoning code to make STRs a permitted use in R1, and then by reference R2, R3, and R4, because whatever's allowed as a permitted use in R1 applies in those districts. That I didn't put on the agenda tonight. That was an oversight. Usually we have the council set the hearing. That's not a legal requirement. Plan Commission did make its recommendation at their special meeting on March 19th. So the legal notice has gone out for that hearing 2 weeks. Then there'll be other, the other ordinances related to STRs like maximum occupancy, posting of rules. May not be the final product, but outdoor lighting that had a fair amount of discussion, maybe not a full consensus. And then proposed ordinance or amendments to our urban tree and ordinance on notice provisions for public nuisances, which police department and the attorney have been talking about. So that's at the next meeting. And then the work session for April will be on the 28th. I will not be at that meeting. So no need for a closed session tonight. We've got a few meetings now about closed.
Okay. Then on to 15 adjournment. Adjournment. Thanks, sir. Second by. Any council discussion? See none, this will be a voice vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Good night.
Hey, Bill.